Alright, what is up guys, I'm Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, education on health, fitness, social well-being. I just woke up at 168.8 pounds now. Today is Saturday, so it's one of my heavier weigh-in days just because Fridays are one of my 4,000 calorie days. So just so you guys know, right now I'm currently taking in 3,700 calories 5 days out of the week and then 4,000 calories 2 days out of the week. So on average, like the main weigh-in day that I've been focused on is Wednesday, since that's the day that I'll be competing on, and right now my average for Wednesday is pretty much like 166 pounds. So by the end of this block it'll be closer to 167, and then by nationals hopefully 168. But on this day, like one of my heavier, the day after my higher caloric intake, I tend to be a little bit heavier just due to water weight collection and everything like that. But I'm actually kind of just showing you guys what I look like right now when I'm awake in the morning. This is me relaxed, just chilling. This is me with a little flex going on. And I'm actually about to meet up with Michael, and we're actually going to be doing a Dexa scan today. And the reason that we're doing this is because, one, we're just kind of curious to see where we're at. So I'll talk with you guys a little bit more about that, like when we actually get to the place, as far as like the comparison, like where I think I'm at, where I think Michael's at. I definitely know that I feel like I'm maybe like 1 or 2% by, like, 1 or 2% higher than what I was like a year ago, or definitely 2 years ago. Those of you who've been like with the channel since like the start know that I was actually like leaner than this when I started. I was also smaller, weaker, but a little bit leaner than what I am now. This is probably like the thickest that I've been, even though I'm still relatively lean. But I've been like pretty consistently in a like lean surplus for like the past couple of years. Like, I've had a couple times where I kind of chilled at maintenance, and then last year I had a couple crazy life things happen where I like lost some weight drastically, but for the most part I've been pretty consistently in a lean surplus. But the reason that I want to take you guys through this is the fact that as of right now, this is the happiest I've ever been, like with my physique, my performance, my health, is how I feel as a whole. And I think a lot of people get way too caught up with the whole body fat percentage thing. I'll actually have a link in the description down below for the last time I tried to get my body fat percentage checked, either like a year or 2 years ago with my homie Derek. The funny thing about that is we tried to do it through hydrostatic weighing. The woman who did the test did not know what she was doing. You guys can go check that video out. It's really, really funny when you see what body fat percentage it put Derek and I at. It was extremely too low. But the reality is, guys, like, so long as it's for a male, especially as long as you're between like 10 and 20%, then you're good from a health perspective. And as long as you're within that range, what your actual body fat percentage is does not matter. It's about, do you feel healthy? Are you comfortable with the way you look? And are you getting stronger in the gym? Is your performance going up? Are you adding muscle mass to your frame over time? That's what matters. Like, people have turned body fat percentage into this thing where it's kind of like a contest, like, oh, I'm lower than you, like that somehow makes it more impressive, when certain people just have certain set points. Like, some people may sit more comfortably around 10%, others maybe around 12, others maybe around 15. Granted, when you're like well above 20%, or when you're well below 10%, then that's just a health issue. That's something you need to get in check. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you guys like what the process is like, show you guys what the process is like for Michael, and kind of like compare where we're at, and then we'll kind of discuss that a little bit more when we get there. And then after that, we have our secondary squat and bench day, so I'll be taking you guys through that as well. Anyway, see you guys once we get to I don't even know what you call it, I guess like the Dexa location. Alright guys, so we're here at, what's it called? Is it Live Lean?
Live Lean, alright, something like
that.
Yeah,
Live Lean. Michael finally showed up, late, as usual, CPT time. But anyway, so before we go, we kind of just want to talk to you guys kind of about like what our predictions are a little bit. So first of all, before we say anything, like, who do you think is going to have a lower body fat percentage?
I think mine will be slightly lower than yours, not like 2 or 3%, but maybe like 0.5%, something like that.
That's what I'm thinking too, because so when Michael and I first met, if you would have asked me, I would have said that I think mine's a little bit lower. But I know since we've met, like over the past year or two, I think I've more consistently been eating in a surplus, gradually kind of gaining a little bit more. Michael's getting on top of his eating a lot more now that he started under me, but before, I know it wasn't quite as consistent as what it's kind of been now. Yeah. So I think Michael's gonna be around like 10 to 11. I think I'm gonna be around like 12 to 13, because I think a couple years ago, if I had to guess, I think I was maybe closer to like 10 to 11 then. So that's kind of my predictions, but that's what I'm thinking. What do you think you're gonna be like actual number wise?
I kind of think the same thing. I've actually had a Dexa scan in the past, and I was just under 10 then, and I know now I'm probably just a little bit less lean than I was then, so I'm probably about 10 and a half to 11, like you said, and I think you're probably about 12.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So I'm actually curious to see, but. Yeah, like I told you guys earlier, man, like the purpose of this isn't so much to be like, oh, look how lean we are. It's more so just to get an idea of kind of where we compare and to give you a better idea like this. So Michael's like literally like in like the top 3 strongest 74 kgers. I'm like in the top 35. So I'm actually very curious as to like where I compare to that, just because like we do know that there's like, aside from the obvious stuff I've talked about, like you know, your leverages being shorter, obviously that's going to help you lift more weight, but there's also a, you know, connection between like how much muscle mass you have relative to your frame. So I'm curious to see not just the body fat percentage, but like how much lean mass he has compared to myself. So yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and head inside and show you guys the process.
All right, guys, so we're just chilling in the waiting room right now. I asked, and I do have permission to record like the entire process, so that's gonna be really cool. You guys are gonna be able to like see how it all works. And pretty much as she's explaining to us like what all the numbers mean, how the process works, I'll just have the video recording so that you guys can kind of go through the process with Michael and I. Michael's very lovely girlfriend, Jasmine, who's probably low-key the leanest person in the room, is over here, and she'll be helping us out recording while Michael and I go through the process. So y'all stay tuned.
Perfect. When you said that you guys are YouTubers?
Yes.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm like, yeah, of course you can. So basically, this is it. It's very short. If you'd like to read it, you're more than welcome to.
I trust you.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. Yeah. There we go. Cool. So is your channel just like all like health, or just your life, or just blogging?
Mine's health, fitness, social well-being.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, no, absolutely. I'm like, yeah, if you want to record this, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so this is Brooke, right?
Oh, yes.
Brooke, and she's going to be taking us through this process today, so I'm actually about to get on right now.
Perfect. So yes, where the top of your head is just going to go right below this line.
Okay.
And we're going to center ourselves on the center line. Your palms face your body and bring your arms into close to your body.
Gotcha.
Beautiful. Just like that. Hold that for me. As this is going, just lay still and silently. As soon as the arm passes your head, you're more than welcome to talk, and I'll let you know when. And once the arm passes your fingertips, you can move your arms, and I'll let you know when. Alright, so as you guys know, the machine you're laying on top of is called a Dexa scanner. Dexa technology is not new by any means. It's been around for well over 25 years at this point, so it's been proven very safe, accurate, and effective for a long time. It was originally created for bone mineral density and actually not body composition. Although it's been able to do body composition to a certain degree, it's been in the past 10 years that we've enhanced the Dexa technology to do what we do here at Live Lean RX, and that's called an advanced body composition measurement, meaning that the Dexa is capable of much more than just a simple body fat percentage. It's actually measuring the 3 things that make up all of us: our fat mass, lean mass, and bone mass. It's measuring those 3 things down to a tenth of a pound, and it's going to give us some details. You're more than welcome to talk to me about it. In the case of body fat, it's going to measure how much we have down to a tenth of a pound and show us where it's located: arms, legs, and trunk. One of the more important things we look at with body fat is visceral fat. So the top part of our abdomen is what is known as the android region, and within that region there's 2 types of fat for most of us. That's going to be subcutaneous fat, which is fat beneath our skin, and then visceral fat, which is fat around our organs. People with high levels of visceral fat are more prone to developing health problems in the future, things like high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes. So the Dexa is capable of locating your android region, measuring how much of it is visceral, therefore establishing a potential level of risk for you. Lean mass also being measured down to a tenth of a pound. And one of the more important things we look at with lean mass is symmetry, or left versus right. So we're going to see exactly how big your left arm is versus your right arm, which is just kind of cool to know. More importantly, what we like to look at is our legs, left versus right. People with significant muscular imbalances in their legs are typically more prone to injuries, including their hips, back, and joints. So we'll see if you have any muscular asymmetry.
That'll be interesting because I've known that my left leg's also a bit bigger than my right, and I've, especially the past year, tried to like work on bringing that up. So it's not as bad as it used to be, but I'm curious to see what that would look like.
Absolutely. Did you like sustain an injury or anything?
No, never had an injury. I think
just like my left.
Yeah, it just seemed just how my left side kind of developed a little more.
Bone mass also being measured down to a tenth of a pound. But with that, it's going to give us an idea of how you're doing on the bone mineral density front, and it's going to compare you to the average you. And by that, I mean age, gender, ethnicity.
Gotcha.
Hydrostatic weighting, the bod pod, which is air displacement.
Right.
All of those. The Dexa is considered the gold standard.
Yeah.
It's superior to all the other methods for two reasons. First and foremost, just the amount of information that the Dexa gives you.
Right.
No other method can give you
all of that.
Right. No, it'll give you a body fat percentage, but that's it. This is, like I said, it's measuring your fat, your lean, your bone. We're going to measure visceral fat. Just simply, you'll see on the report, it's just the amount of information.
Right.
And then two, it's the only true measurement of the body composition assessment world.
Right.
All of the other ones, have some sort of statistical calculations involved and whatnot. So like, while they, don't have to be inaccurate, oftentimes they are.
They are, right. I had a friend with me, they put him at 1%. We're like, and I'm like, yeah, you eat that.
Yeah, like, you've got to have some fat. Yes, absolutely. You're more than welcome to get up. So where do you think you are body fat percentage wise?
I think like 12, maybe 13.
Wow, I'm impressed. 12.1.
12.1.
It's right here. 12.1% body fat.
Okay. Okay, so my guess was close. Awesome. Awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, guys. Michael just finished his. So we're gonna see.
My calves look bigger than yours.
Yeah, boy, stop lying to yourself. What calves? And Michael, for you, we said we guessed you're around. They said like 10 or 11. We think.
Yeah, like mid-10.
Yeah, so I'm, like I said, we're just gonna take us through all the numbers and what it all means. But like you guys can see, I am 12%, so right about where I guessed. So I'm curious to see if Michael's at the point that we guessed as well. So I guess we'll see in a second.
That's going to be, yes, the center of our shoulder here, out and down through our fingertips. The center of our shoulder here, out and down through our fingertips. Our legs are going to be the top of our pelvic girdle here and down through our toes, down through our toes. Our trunk is going to be the top of our shoulders here to the top of our pelvic girdle, that entire center region.
Okay.
And over here, this top magenta box is that android region that I discussed with visceral fat. And this bottom magenta box is our gynoid region. Basically, as humans, your fat is either going to go here or here. Either your gut or your butt and thighs.
Right.
So those are the two technical regions that they, go to. Oh, and then all right, moment of truth. What'd you say you were?
About 10 and a half.
Man, y'all are killing it. 10.4.
10.4?
Yeah.
Look at that, right? Yeah, right where we guessed, man.
Yeah.
Pretty good. That's pretty good, this whole guessing thing.
Yeah.
Our fat tissue is going to be that red number, and that's the sum of all fatty tissue in you, including things that don't go away, like our brain and bone marrow. So let's say everything is kind of written out, like our brain and bone marrow, because there are fatty components within those as well.
Right.
Ideally for men, what is optimal average, and genetics plays a huge role in that for our fat tissue, is between 20 and 35 pounds. So you guys are doing, you know what I mean? Obviously it's okay to have less than that. Like I said, it's optimal average, and those are our goals. So nothing alarming. Actually killing it, so. All right, AG ratio is going to be down here. AG ratio is just basically saying your android over your gynoid is, what we like is your gynoid to be bigger than your android, if you will. So we like this number to be less than 1. So with this being said, you gentlemen are extremely fit, as you see this. So AG ratio is a useful tool. I like to compare it to BMI though. As in, BMI can be useful, but it's easily skewed.
Easily skewed, right.
That's this.
Gotcha.
You guys are easily skewed.
Gotcha. Like even with BMI, I think it puts me at like extremely overweight.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much muscle.
Obese.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
So that's why I like to. So you totally understand the analogy. You're following it both. So right next to that blue graph, this is going to be our bone mineral density comparison graph. So this 50 right here, that's going to be the 50th percentile. That's average. That 50 right here, that's 50th percentile. That's average. Both of you guys are through the roof. This tells us you're at the 96th percentile. This tells us you're at the 99th percentile. Then we have our right and left legs. It looks like our right leg is a pound stronger. And over here you have a 0.3 difference.
Hey,
so,
awesome. I brought that in balance up. It used to be like pretty significantly less.
I was about to say 0.3. I'm like, it is the same.
Yeah, I'm good with that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
The rest of those numbers are for you to go over again. We just look at that, musculature, if you will.
And how often would you recommend someone get one to kind of have like a consistent looking trend?
I would say 2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months.
That's what I was thinking. Like
You give yourself time to change. Give yourself time to, build muscle, lose fat, whatever it may be.
Right.
You got to give yourself time to change, if you will, or else you kind of get discouraged if you come back too quickly because you don't see any changes.
Sure. You're not going to see much difference
Right.
in 3 weeks. Right.
Absolutely. So.
Something I teach all the time is like the recompositioning, and then even with this, how like, because it's a new trend now. It used to be like focusing on the scale. Now some people almost get overly focused on their body fat. Like, oh, I gotta be like sub 10% because the whole bodybuilding scene. It's like, no, you don't really want to walk around sub 10%.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you said, genetic outliers. Like some people walk around like closer to that, obviously, but like we said, 3% body fat, probably not the healthiest place to be.
Right, about to say, if you're like that on competition day or whatever, but that you can't live life.
Exactly.
You can't live life.
Exactly.
So.
On different people, like Michael and I, like I wouldn't even guess there was a whole 2% difference between us necessarily. Yeah. So it's all about like how
we guessed that I would be a little bit leaner, but
not
that.
Yeah, maybe like 1%. So yeah. And I still think I look better than this guy. So that's all the questions I pretty much had. You're pretty thorough with everything.
No, the Dexa is very, very interesting, and it's you know, hang tight real quick. I'm gonna go grab a couple things for you, just to give y'all some just more information, if you will.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, we here. Homie Jasmine, look at the dough. Michael, wifey Amber, Allegra, and that boy Charles over there too. Hey Charles, turn around real quick. Say what's up to the people, man. Look at that.
What up?
Look at that.
Hey,
that's world class.
Simple, scientific, specific. Y'all say it in order?
Almost. Simple, specific, scientific. Almost. It's simple, specific, scientific. Almost. No, but anyway, we're about to get this workout in. I've got squats. I'm working up to a top set of 4 at RP6, and then I've got a back down set, and I think I got like a top set of 3 at RP6 on bench, back down work, etc. You guys are gonna see the whole thing, and then later Mike and I are gonna talk about the body fat percentage test, compare our numbers, and then that'll pretty much be the video.
All right, guys, so hopping in for a voiceover for the workout portion of this video, and this is a fun little group workout with Amber, Michael, Jasmine, Allegra, and Charles. We've actually all been trying to get together for a workout for a minute now, and it just hasn't happened, so we're all pretty happy to be able to finally get together for this little group sesh. It's funny because Charles is actually like the world champion 66 kg'er, and it's just funny to me when I think about like the people I'm surrounded by in terms of just like you know, like powerlifting, like who's at the top and stuff like that. Like, you know, Michael's my client, friends with Charles, friends with people like Russell, my boy Derek, my boy Ashton. It's just very interesting to me that I just so happen to be like pretty much either always living around or hanging out with people who are so strong. And it really is just a huge motivating factor for me to consistently, like, you know, improve and better myself. And there wasn't really much of a better example of that than today, in the sense of just being completely honest. Like, coming into the gym, coming into the workout, I wasn't necessarily like hyped to train, just because, you know, I had to wake up early to go get the Dexa scan. Didn't really have time to eat a really, like, you know, solid breakfast or anything like that. And at this point, it was already like later in the day. I think we trained around noon, give or take, which is usually about the time that we train on Saturdays, but I usually have like at least a small meal in beforehand. But just being around everyone, seeing them all get in the work, seeing them all kill it, just like had me feeling really, really good. And honestly, this was a great way to start off, like, you know, my first secondary day of the block in terms of squat and bench. I actually ended up hitting 2 ability PRs. And just for those of you who aren't aware, an ability PR just means a PR that doesn't necessarily have to do with like weight. So it can be something like, oh, I hit a weight for a certain amount of reps that I never had before, or I hit a weight for a lower RP than whatever I had before. And in my case, for both my top sets, it was a little bit of both. Like, I've never hit this weight, which is 408 pounds for a set of 4 at an RP6, especially like on a secondary day. So to be able to do that was pretty dope. And then afterwards had my back down set. I just had 1 back down set on this day, just kind of eased me into, you know, the volume for this block. So it wasn't anything too bad. It's 359 pounds for just 1 back down set of 5. But overall, I'm just really happy, guys, like with my position. Like I said, the new rack position that I've been working with for the past, I guess, 2 or 3 weeks now has really been paying off. I feel a lot more stable in the hole. I feel a lot more powerful driving up, and I just don't feel that bar trying to roll up on me anywhere near as much as what it was before. So really happy to see that, you know, the work with that is paying off. After that, I ended up going to bench press. I had to work up to a top set of 3 at RP6. And the way the bench is working right now is we're definitely pushing like for heavier now. So it's a top set of 3 this week, then be a top set of 2 next week, and then for the final week, a top set of 1 RP6 on this secondary day. And this was also an ability PR, 286 pounds for a top set of 3 at RP6, which I've never done that on a secondary day either, but I wasn't too surprised that I came in and hit this, just considering the fact that on my primary day, just a couple days ago, you guys saw in the last video, I ended up hitting 286 for 5 back down sets of 4, which was a back down volume PR. So I came in a little bit more confident on bench than anything else, like compared to squats. Like I said, I came in feeling kind of thinking like, oh, we'll see how squats go, but I knew bench was going to go well, kind of just based upon that. And then after that, just had, you know, the usual accessory work that you guys have seen on this day for like the past block or two now. We had flat dumbbell press, so just one set of, I think it was 9 at RP5. And once again, we're not doing anything too crazy with the dumbbell press like we do in the off season. It's just one set, just to get a little bit more additional volume in on the pecs without having to actually be on the barbell for longer than what's necessary. And this felt really good. And like, you know, looking at it now, it looked pretty good too, man. Look at that. Look at the pecs. Look at the striations, man. Maybe they were wrong about 12%, man. I'm feeling like, you know, closer to 7 or 6 or something like that. Then after that, we had leg press. Now, I actually usually do Pit Shark on this day, but Absolute Recomp, their old Pit Shark machine isn't working right now, or the belt swap machine rather. It's not working, and we're still waiting for them to order the new one. So I just did this in the meantime because the hack squat, I don't like the pressure it puts on my lower back, nor do I like the pressure of the lying leg press. So this seated leg press is kind of like the closest thing I could get to just, you know, getting some good additional volume on the quads. So all in all, felt fine just for that day. Then after that, I had landmine presses. You guys already know with this, I'm really just focusing on reaching and protracting, as well as kind of like, you know, letting it fully retract on the way back down. It's just working on a movement that we don't usually work on in powerlifting. We're always focused on things like retraction, external rotation. So movements that cue things like internal rotation or protraction are always just good for overall health. So these always feel really, really good. And I never go crazy heavy on them, just a 45-pound plate. Then I get the rep work in and go from there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the workout. Enjoy the rest of the video.
A little bit of room. Give some more. Shout out to the Hodge ones. Nah. Alright guys, so pretty much done through like the main focus of our workouts. Michael says a few accessories left, and I have like one superset left with lateral raise and tricep press downs. But I also have my housewarming today, so I'm trying to like get this part of the video done and get over there, help the wifey out, get set up. So what we're pretty much gonna do, guys, is kind of just go through our numbers. Like you kind of heard a brief overview. I haven't decided how I'm gonna like chop the clips up for that yet, but we're gonna like just go through a comparison of Michael and I to kind of just give you guys an idea of certain things as it relates to, yes, your health, which we kind of covered already earlier in the video, but then also like from more of a powerlifting standpoint to kind of follow up that video I did, I think, I don't know, like 3 or 4 videos ago where I talked about like, you know, the importance of your height, your leverages, your weight, how all that plays into account. But regardless of that, for you as an individual, if you're trying to get bigger, yeah, you're trying to get bigger, blah, blah. So let's get right into it. So for our total mass, I weighed in at 169.9 pounds for the Dexa scan. And Michael, what'd you weigh in at?
I was 171.9, so just a little bit heavier.
Okay. And then for our body fat percentage, I came in at 12.1.
And I came in at 10.4.
So we legit guessed like perfectly where we're going to be, which makes me think that where I think I was 2 years ago, I said I think I was probably about 10%, have gone up maybe about 1% each year. I think it's pretty accurate for me.
Yeah, and the last I got a Dexa scan, I want to say like 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, something like that, and I was like 9.6%.
Yeah.
So I predicted that. Obviously, I'm just a little bit less lean.
But you're also more muscular, right?
Yeah.
Because you gained
so,
about 8 pounds, you said?
Yeah, so that was about right. I was like 161 at that time, and now 169 or 171.
Yeah, so for me, my fat tissue is 20.6 pounds of my weight is fat tissue, and then Michael's is 17.9.
Yeah, 17.9.
So, which makes sense because my body fat percentage is a little bit higher. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So, my lean tissue, as far as like lean mass, is 141.5 pounds. And then Michael's, what's yours?
Mine is 146.8.
So that's 5 more pounds than me. So this is what I'm kind of talking about, guys, in terms of as far as optimality, like not to brag on myself, but like Michael is training very optimally right now in terms of like the coaching he's getting. And of course,
it's all right.
My bad. It's all right. No, and then of course, and Brendan's taking really care of me as far as training optimality. So neither of us are slacking on how hard we're working, our sleep or nutrition. But the very fact that Michael he's an inch shorter than me. He's got slightly shorter leverages than me, and he's got 5 more pounds of muscle mass. And as I've explained to you guys, how much strength you get per pound of muscle mass varies from individual to individual. If we both put a pound of muscle on us, we're both going to get stronger in whatever area that muscle's involved in, right? Like we both add a pound of muscle to our chest, both our bench is going to go up, but how much just depends on the person. That's where the leverages and stuff come in handy. But it kind of shows you where that gap is. Like I said, Michael's ranked like pretty much like in the top 3. I'm number 35 right now. And there's that much range from simple things like he's an inch shorter and just has 5 more pounds of mass. But that's how much of a difference that stuff can make when it comes to like the gene pool as a whole, pretty much. Then for bone mineral content for me in terms of pounds, 7.8.
Mine is 7.3.
So my bone mineral is like a little bit denser and I'm a little bit heavier than Michael's. So that's pretty much how that goes. Now, next thing I kind of want to cover, I think, here we go. Let's kind of go over like our size from left to right, and then the differences in terms of like how much, like where we kind of store like our muscle and stuff like that in terms of how heavy it is. So for my arms in total, it's 22.7 pounds. My right arm is 11.5. My left arm is 11.1, so that's like a 0.4 difference. What's yours, Michael?
So mine in total is 24.3, so again, slightly higher than Marcella's. My right arm is 11.9, and my left arm is 12.4.
So that's interesting. So he carries more overall mass on his upper body than me by a little bit, but we can tell that like the discrepancy between his left and right is different from mine, which honestly makes sense because I've kind of been on top of like working on imbalances and accessory working that way a little bit longer than Michael. He's getting back on it now, so I bet over the next few months that kind of like catches up and changes. For our legs, for our leg total, my total is 47.6 pounds, and my right leg is 24, my left leg is 23.6, which I'm really happy with because like you guys maybe heard me mention earlier in the video, a couple years back, like my left leg was kind of significantly bigger than my right one, and it wasn't even so much like I've done the video for guys to explain it's not so much barbell versus dumbbell, it's just about equal distribution of tension. Like if you're using dumbbells but you're going like this, one side's still working more, right? Whereas if you're with a barbell and you're nice and even. So just cleaning up my technique as a whole, on top of like specific accessory, like single leg accessory work, I think will really help bring that up a lot. So it's nice to know there's like minimal difference as far as that. But what's yours on your lower body?
So for me, the total is 48.7. My right leg is 24.8, and my left leg is 23.9. Which that's a little bit surprising to me that there's not a bigger difference between Marcel's and I, just because of the difference in lower body strength.
Yeah, exactly. That's what shocked me. I honestly thought our upper bodies would be closer, and our lower bodies would be further apart. Granted, they're not further apart at all for either, but due to how much more he squats and pulls, I thought it'd be that much. But if you kind of look at our leg ratios, our legs aren't.
We're built very
similar. Like so, it's not even so much that his legs are that much bigger than mine, but once again, the leverage aspect, right? Like he has to pull a slightly shorter range of motion as far as the deads and the squats. Honestly, bro, I think part of it's like your muscle fiber distribution type. I think we're just explosive stuff like that. So that was pretty interesting. And then in terms of the rest of the stuff, guys probably aren't too interested. And then once again for the bone mineral content, I'm in the 99th percentile in terms of like where the average is, because the average for us is 1.3 and mine's 2.4, so I'm like in the 99th percentile, and Michael, you're at the 90.
I'm in the 96th percentile, which it makes sense that mine's slightly lower because I'm a little bit younger than Marcellus.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Your bones will like develop more and strengthen more. That's something else I'll tell you guys too, like resistance training or not, like that whole grown man strength thing is real, because as you get older, you get like your muscles start to develop more. Same with the bone density, everything like that. But I think for the most part, because we have to wait for them to email the part as far as our was it like the fat stuff like that?
The visceral fat.
Yeah, the visceral fat versus where the other is. But I mean, obviously both of us are pretty relatively lean. But the main thing for me, guys, that I want to kind of like just express was the fact that like, okay, so Michael's 10%, I'm 12%, but we're both higher than what we were a year or two ago. A little bit less lean, but we feel good. We're performing well, and beyond that, man, like I'm not silly in this mindset of like, oh, Michael's leaner than me, I need to cut down, like, because that's stupid. It's like it doesn't matter. Like I said, in terms of health, more often than not, you don't want to be below 10 or above 20 for a male. And I'll have whatever the numbers are for female on screen at some point during the video, maybe even during this part. But for powerlifting, this is the main thing we're trying to emphasize, right? As far as if you're trying to just maximize your genetic potential and how competitive you can be, whether you're in the top 10, top 30, whatever it may be, you basically want to be like the shortest, the leanest, but also like heaviest you can be in your weight class. So, like both Michael and I are actually like, we walk around at this point heavier than our weight class because we compete at 163. There was a point where I remember I was competing under like 158, 160, and I had to eat a lot to get to 163.
Same.
But ever since been sitting above the weight class and just, you know, do a little bit of water and food manipulation to make weight, I feel so much better because like you're heavier, right? More mass, more force production, but we're both relatively lean, so we don't have a bunch of unnecessary additional body fat on us, which to me is good because like if you have unnecessary body fat on you, you could potentially either be in a lower weight class, which makes you more competitive, or beyond that, make your cuts easier to your weight class you're trying to get into. That's why, honestly, for health, yeah, 10 to 20, but for powerlifting, we were talking about this, we think being between like 10 and 15% is where you want to be.
It's like the perfect range.
Yeah.
It kind of has to be a balance because obviously you don't want to be too lean. You don't want to be walking around 70%.
Right.
You know, stage ready.
Right.
And you're trying to compete.
Exactly.
But you also don't want to be, you know, 25%.
Exactly.
Because at that point, the extra mass isn't doing you any good.
Exactly, and that's what people don't understand. Like, so yeah, to a certain degree, more fat on you can help you with certain lifts, especially things like bench, but only to such a point where it's like, okay, is it worth doing all the cutting and the manipulation you have to do to get from like your 20% body fat, like just to get like 5 pounds on your bench when you can just build it up through actual strength and muscle mass. So, you know, hashtag #InFat powerlifting, embrace the craftsmanship, that needs to start happening. But I think that's pretty much all we kind of want to cover as far as that, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We already said that we were pretty much spot on with what we predicted beforehand.
Yeah. Like I'm honestly like, I always tell you guys, that doesn't change. This doesn't change. Like you really can't tell someone's body fat percentage by just looking at them. Because if you look at Michael and I, someone will probably guess we're like the same practically. And it's all about where you store your fat, which is interesting. Mine, that's the one thing we didn't kind of go over. But I kind of store mine more like in the hip area apparently.
Yeah.
And then there was like some like towards my feet or whatever. It was interesting.
And I store it like in my lower body, which I figured. And also a little bit like in the trunk region.
Yeah, I definitely store more in my lower body compared to my upper body as a whole. But long story short, I think that's pretty much it. So I'm probably gonna close this video out back at the crib, but that's it for the Dexa scan for me. All right, guys. So we're back at the crib. Just gonna close the video out here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Obviously, it was a little bit longer just because there's a lot going on with the Dexa scan, the training, and the comparisons. But hopefully this gives you guys kind of a better idea of realistic body fat percentages. Like there's so many people, like when I asked on my Instagram, like, hey guys, when I get my Dexa scan, what do you think I'm at? There's so many people who put me at like below 10%. And it's just like most people, even with great genetics, are not walking around sub 10% body fat. Like I said, 9 to 10% is kind of normal for just those people with really like lean genetics, stuff like that. But hopefully you guys have like a really good comparison. Then hopefully you guys have a better understanding of like strength ratios and like how it all plays in with leverages and more muscle mass and like, you know, the comparisons between Michael and I. Because like I said, looking at us, we don't look all that different like structurally, but those differences that are there obviously do make a difference. And beyond that, man, hopefully you guys like will no longer, I mean, I know this is gonna change the whole trend of it, but like I really for real need people to stop using powerlifting as a justification for being extremely overweight or obese. Obviously the heavier weight classes are gonna sit a little bit heavier, have more body fat on them, and that's okay. But when you have people out here who are like way above 20% body fat, like pushing 30, 40, like just you struggle to get off the bench press when you're done with the set because of how big you are. Like it's just not worth it. One, the sport's not paying anyone enough to risk your health like that, and two, it's just not necessary to excel at the sport. To me, it's kind of ridiculous that a lot of people in like powerlifting and fitness will like, they'll be like, yo, the whole fact acceptance movements or health at any size is so stupid, that's so incorrect, but then they're kind of doing the same thing by justifying being obese because, oh, I'm a powerlifter. Like it's just dumb. It's not needed. It's not needed to improve your strength or maximize your competitive nature in powerlifting. But that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go in the comment down below. Let me know what you did. If you know, leave a comment down below. Let me know what I can do better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch you guys later.